The ghost ship awakens. The desolate wreck of the Vanguard's Mercy loomed over the barren training field like a fallen titan. It was an ancient warship, a relic from a long-forgotten conflict, half-buried in the alien soil of Turxus IV. For centuries, the locals spoke of its lingering ghosts, of the ship's unbreakable curse, and how even the most advanced engineers of the Zorveni Empire had declared it beyond repair. Yet here they stood, 3 human cadets, facing the impossible. Cadet Nathan Carter, the tallest of the trio, crossed his arms as he squinted up at the corroded hull. "You're telling me they just left a warship sitting here for generations? No one even tried to salvage it?" Cadet Alex Ramirez, their designated engineer, ran a gloved hand along the battle-scarred plating, his brown eyes gleaming with curiosity. "Not for lack of trying. They say it's got tech no one's been able to decipher. Some kind of self-repair system that refuses to work." Cadet Elise Monroe, the team's strategist, tapped at her wrist computer, pulling up the ship's last recorded transmission. The screen flickered, displaying a scrambled log entry in an unknown language. "There's something weird about this ship. It's like it doesn't want to wake up." Behind them, Commander Korth, their reptilian instructor, exhaled sharply, his slitted eyes narrowing. The Zorveni officer had been against their presence from the start. His people feared humans, not for their strength, but for their persistence. "You are wasting your time," Korth hissed. "This vessel is beyond even our greatest minds. You will fail, just as they did." Nathan smirked, cracking his knuckles. "With all due respect, sir, you clearly haven't met human engineers." Korth's scaled tail twitched in irritation, but he said nothing. He had seen human arrogance before, but he had also seen what happened when they set their minds to something, and that, more than anything, unsettled him. The cadets split up, assessing the ship. Alex pried open a corroded access panel near the base, his fingers moving with practiced ease. Ellis climbed onto a platform, scanning for any active power signatures. Nathan worked on the jammed entry hatch, applying brute force where engineering finesse failed. The Vanguard's Mercy groaned. The sound echoed across the field, a low, mechanical exhale, like the ship was breathing for the first time in centuries. Korth took a step back, his frills expanding in alarm. "You shouldn't be disturbing." The ship's lights flickered. Dust and rust cascaded from its hull as ancient circuits surged to life. Elise's screen spiked with energy readings. "We're waking it up." Nathan slammed his fist against the unresponsive hatch. "Come on, you piece of junk. If you're still kicking, show us something." Something clicked. With a deafening hiss, the main hatch released, revealing the darkness within. Korth's eyes widened. "Impossible." Alex grinned. "I love impossible." Without hesitation, the 3 humans stepped inside. The air was stale, thick with the scent of decay and burned wiring. Flashlights cut through the darkness, illuminating walls covered in organic-looking metal, as if the ship had once been alive. Strange symbols flickered on the walls, shifting and pulsing in response to their presence. "These markings, they're changing," Elise murmured. Nathan ran a hand over the console near the door. "I don't like this. Feels like something's watching us." Alex ignored him, crouching beside a control panel. "If I can get this interface running, we might be able to figure out what happened here." He pulled a power cell from his pack, rigging up a makeshift connection to bypass the ship's decayed energy core. Sparks flew. The console flickered, then stabilized. A hologram flickered into existence, fuzzy at first, then sharpening into a distorted figure. It was humanoid, but not human. Its elongated head and glowing silver eyes fixed on them. It spoke, its voice a broken whisper. "Initiating. Last command. Unregistered life forms detected. Security protocols engage." The walls rumbled. Nathan's gut twisted. "Alex, what the hell did you just turn on?" Heavy metal footsteps echoed from the corridor ahead. Something was coming. Korth's voice crackled through their earpieces. "Cadets, You have awoken something you do not understand. Get out of there. Elise's fingers flew over her wrist computer, decoding the hologram's final command. Last surviving crew. Compromised. Final defense protocol activated. Self-preservation mode engaged. Alex paled. Guys, I think we just triggered the ship's last line of defense. A deep mechanical growl reverberated through the ship's core. Nathan clenched his fists. Well, guess we're not turning back now. The ship came alive. And so did its guardians. The ship fights back. The walls trembled, dust cascading from the ceiling as something deep within Vanguard's mercy awakened. The low, mechanical growl reverberated through the passageways, a sound not just of activation but of recognition, as if the ship itself remembered the presence of intruders. Nathan Carter took a step forward, muscles tensed, every instinct screaming danger. That doesn't sound like a warm welcome. Alex Ramirez yanked his hands from the console, his face pale under the dim emergency lighting. No kidding. I just bypassed a security lock. We didn't wake up a ship. We woke up its defense systems. Ellis Monroe's screen flickered with warnings. The logs say the last crew was compromised. Whatever that means. The ship's AI activated an auto-defense system right before it shut down. Nathan clenched his fists. So what you're saying is, we just tripped the final alarm on a long-dead warship. A sharp clang echoed from the hallway ahead. Then another. Then something moved in the darkness. The guardians of the ship. A pair of red lights flickered to life at the far end of the corridor, hovering just above the ground. A metallic whir followed. A mechanism spinning up, something large adjusting its weight. Then it charged. Nathan barely had time to react before a hulking machine lunged from the shadows, its heavy frame moving with a predatory grace that no rusted relic had any right to possess. Its elongated plasteel limbs ended in sharpened claws, its body sleek despite centuries of decay. It was a security drone, an ancient war machine still programmed to kill. Move, Elise shouted, diving aside just as the construct's claws ripped through the air where she had been standing. Sparks flew as its limbs scraped the metal walls. Nathan rolled left, avoiding a second swing. Any chance we can reason with this thing? Alex was already scrambling toward a panel, typing frantically. It's running on a looped security protocol. It's treating us like whatever took out the last crew. Elise fired a flare from her wrist-mounted beacon, illuminating the corridor in bright red light. The drone flinched, its sensors momentarily overwhelmed. That's our shot. Nathan lunged, delivering a full-strength punch to the machine's center mass. It was like hitting a steel wall. Nathan winced, shaking out his fist. That was a stupid idea. The drone recovered faster than expected. It turned its glowing optics on him and raised one massive arm blade to strike. But before it could land a hit, Elise activated a pulse jammer from her wrist computer. The shockwave sent the drone staggering backward, its servos grinding in protest. Alex didn't waste a second. That won't hold for long. I found a maintenance bypass. There's an emergency shutdown switch deeper in the ship. We get to that. We turn off the security grid. Nathan cracked his knuckles. Then let's move before we get turned into scrap metal. A desperate sprint. The cadets sprinted through the dimly lit corridors, guided by the flickering green holographic markers Elise had pulled up on her display. Each turn revealed more of the ship's strange, almost organic design. The walls pulsed faintly, as if alive, and symbols shifted when they passed. Why does this place feel aware? Elise murmured. Nathan glanced at the shifting walls. Yeah, I don't think this is just old tech. It's like the ship is watching us. Alex skidded to a stop in front of a sealed blast door. Here, this leads to the main power relay. He pressed a few commands into his wrist pad. Give me a second. The sound of metal scraping behind them made Nathan turn. The security drone was back, but it wasn't alone. From the shadows, two more war machines emerged, their eyes glowing red, their bladed arms flexing as they scanned the intruders. "We are so dead," Elise muttered. "Not yet," Alex shouted, slamming a fist into the console. The door hissed open, revealing a dark chamber beyond. Inside. "Now." Nathan and Elise jumped through as Alex followed, hitting the manual override to seal the door. The last thing they saw before it shut was the lead drone charging forward, just a second too late. Then, boom. The drone slammed into the blast door, the metal groaning under the impact. But it held. For now. The core of the Vanguard's Mercy. Panting, the cadets turned to face the room they had entered. It was massive. A circular chamber lined with ancient consoles, most of them dark. But at the very center, suspended in a gravity field, was what could only be the ship's core. A massive sphere of shimmering energy, its surface shifting between metallic and liquid, glowing with a deep blue hue. Strange tendrils of light pulsed from it, connecting to the walls, as if the ship itself was breathing. Alex stepped closer. "This is it. This is what's keeping the ship in defense mode. If I can just..." He reached for his tools. The room shook violently. Elise swore. "They're cutting through the door." Nathan took position near the entrance, raising his fists. "Then we better work fast." Alex began frantically working on the core's interface, his fingers flying over ancient controls. The holograms responded sluggishly, almost reluctantly. The security system was fighting back. Another explosion rocked the doorframe. Sparks showered the floor as a metallic claw pierced through. "Alex," Nathan shouted, "we don't have time." "I almost got it." Elise fired another pulse jammer, buying them a few seconds. Then, finally, the core dimmed. The ship let out a low mechanical sigh. The red warning lights flickered out. The security alarms stopped blaring. The drones outside froze mid-strike. Then, slowly, they powered down. For the first time in centuries, Vanguard's Mercy was silent. The truth revealed. Nathan exhaled, tension draining from his shoulders. "Tell me that means we're not about to die." Alex grinned. "We just shut down everything. Security, weapons, defenses. This ship is officially ours." Elise tapped her wrist computer, reviewing the final log entry. "And not just the ship. We might have just activated something much bigger." Nathan frowned. "What do you mean?" The console flickered, a final message appearing in translated text. "Final crew status. Terminated. Vanguard's Mercy AI override. Engaged. Awaiting new captain." Nathan, Alex, and Elise stared at the message. Then, almost as one, they turned to look at each other. Alex was the first to break the silence. "Guys, I think we just stole a warship." Outside, Commander Korth's voice crackled through their comms, his tone somewhere between horrified and furious. "Cadets, what have you done?" Nathan smirked. "Something impossible. The ship has a new captain." The ancient warship Vanguard's Mercy had been dead for centuries. Declared unrepairable by even the finest minds in the Zorvani Empire, it had been left to rot on Xerxes IV, a relic of a long-forgotten war. Now, against all odds, against all logic, it was alive again, and it had chosen a new crew. The AI awakens. Nathan Carter, Alex Ramirez, and Elise Monroe stood in the heart of the ship's control center, staring at the holographic text floating above the core. Awaiting new captain. The words hung in the air, pulsing gently, as if the ship itself was waiting for them to decide. Nathan rubbed the back of his neck. "So, who wants to break it to Commander Korth that we just became the owners of a long-lost alien battleship?" Elise shot him a flat look. "I'd rather deal with the ship's security drones again." Alex, ever the tech nerd, was already interfacing with the console, his fingers flying over the ancient controls. "Hold on. The AI is stabilizing. It's definitely aware of us now. I think it's trying to." The ship spoke. Unregistered life forms detected. The voice was deep, mechanical, yet strangely calm. Override protocols engage. Processing new command authority. Analyzing genetic markers. Human DNA recognized. Nathan exchanged a nervous glance with Elise. That doesn't sound like a bad thing. Calculating probability of survival with human command. A pause. 99.8%. Nathan blinked. That's oddly high. Alex grinned. Guess it likes us. Finalizing registration. A soft hum resonated through the chamber. Then, a glowing symbol materialized on the main console. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Part alien text, part shifting energy construct. Command authority transferred. Welcome aboard, Captain Carter. Nathan froze. Wait, what? Elise burst out laughing. Oh, this is going to be fun. Commander Korth's meltdown. Meanwhile, outside the ship, Commander Korth was losing his mind. The Zorvani officer had watched in horrified silence as the dead warship powered up, its engines humming with life for the first time in centuries. His frilled throat expanded in sheer panic, his instincts screaming that this was impossible. And yet, somehow, the humans had done it. His comm device crackled as he finally got through to the control center. Cadets, his voice was sharp with disbelief. What have you done? Nathan's voice came through a second later, way too casual for Korth's liking. Hey, Commander. Good news. We got the ship running. Korth's frills flared aggressively. You mean you have committed blasphemy against a historical relic and triggered a potential galactic incident? Alex chimed in. I mean, that's one way to look at it. Korth's eyes twitched. Shut it down. Immediately. Elise's voice was smooth, almost teasing. Yeah, about that. Turns out the ship doesn't want to shut down. It's fully operational now. We also seem to be its new command staff. What? Nathan grinned. Yeah, I guess the ship kinda adopted us. Korth physically staggered. You absolute Deathworld lunatics. You cannot just claim an ancient warship. That is not how this works. The ship's AI chose that exact moment to interject. Command authority verified. All systems online. Awaiting orders from Captain Carter. Silence. A long, horrified silence. Then Korth's voice came through, weak, almost pleading. Tell me that was a joke. Nathan crossed his arms, staring at the glowing console in front of him. No joke, sir. Seems like I just got promoted. A warship unlike any other. Despite Korth's furious protests, Vanguard's Mercy was fully operational, and it was responding only to them. The moment Nathan had been registered as captain, the entire ship had shifted, as if it had been waiting for a leader. Elise tapped into the ship's internal records, scrolling through classified military data that hadn't been accessed in over 300 years. This ship wasn't just some random battleship, she murmured, eyes wide. It was an experimental AI-driven war platform, a self-repairing, semi-organic construct designed to adapt to any battlefield. Alex's fingers danced over the console. Its weapon systems are still intact. Plasma cannons, kinetic railguns, something labeled a gravlance, and... He paused. Okay, I don't even know what this one is, but it has a warning label in 5 different alien languages. Nathan let out a slow breath. So what you're saying is, we're standing on a forgotten superweapon. Elise nodded. Pretty much. Nathan's mind raced. He had been expecting a simple training exercise. Instead, they had just reactivated one of the most advanced warships in the galaxy. The realization settled in. The Zorvani Empire had abandoned this ship because they couldn't control it. Now, for the first time in centuries, it had a captain again. And it wasn't a Zorvani. It was a human. A decision that could change everything. Korth's voice returned, calmer this time, but no less intense. Listen to me, cadets, he said. You do not understand what you have done. That ship, it was never meant to be controlled. It is a weapon beyond anything your kind has ever encountered. If the Zorvani military finds out about this, Nathan's smirk returned. Then maybe they shouldn't have left it lying around. This is not a joke. Korth snapped. You have just made yourselves a target. That ship is an unclaimed superweapon, and there are a lot of people in this galaxy who will want to take it from you. Nathan exchanged a glance with Alex and Elise. The weight of what they had just done finally sank in. They had reawakened something far bigger than themselves. They had just put themselves in the middle of a potential war. Elise took a breath. So, what do we do? Nathan looked at the ship's glowing core, then at the ancient weapon systems blinking to life. A slow grin spread across his face. We do what humans do best, he said. We keep it.